meters, 40,000 trillion meters, 40 million billion, 40 billion million. You can think of 40 billion million by thinking of 40 billion is 9 zeros, e exponential 9, or exponential 9, and million is 6 zeros. So 9 plus 6 is 14, or is 15, so 15 zeros. I want to find half of the distance between a ship, or because a ship could be accelerated half the distance and accelerated in the opposite direction for the second half of the distance at the same rate, here 10 meters per second squared, to stop exactly at Proxima Centauri. Half the distance from Earth to Proxima Centauri is 2e16 meters, so 4 exponential 16 divided by 2, that's 2 exponential 16. So s equals 1/2 at squared. 2 exponential 16 equals 0.5 times 10 times t squared. 4 exponential 15 equals t squared. T equals 63 million seconds. 63 million seconds divided by 60 is 1 million minutes. Divided by 60 is 17,000 hours. Divided by 24 is 737 days. Divided by 365 is 2 years to half the distance. So multiply that by 2, that's 4 years to Proxima Centauri. Less time than a photon takes. 2 years to Proxima Centauri with constant acceleration of 10 meters per second squared. This is if the opinion that time is slowed and space is stretched at 299 meters each second, less than the speed of photons, is false. Or this is the idea that if time is distorted, is false, according to relativity. Okay, if a photon moves from Earth star to Centauri star in 4.28 years, what slowing of time is there for the photon? How does the photon grow in size? The errors of time slowing, I think, originate with the error of thinking that a photon is not matter and that time depends on the speed of photons. Humans depend on photons to interpret time. In my opinion, and I could be wrong, time does not depend on photons. I think, like Newton, that time is independent of space and matter. 4 years to go from the Earth star to the 3 stars of Centauri. The constant acceleration adds to the velocity. Getting to the speed of a photon would take v equals at, 3 exponential 8 equals 10t, 3 exponential 7 equals t, 30 million seconds, or 347 days at 10 meters per second squared. Once some matter is moving 3 exponential 8 meters every second relative to all other pieces of matter in the universe, stopping in the comfort of 10 meters per second squared would take another Earth year. There would be no easy way to stop a ship moving 3 exponential 8 meters every second in less than 1 Earth year. For the slowing part, the last half of the move, the room ceiling would be the room floor.
Oh, I know. You were talking about, you never young, yeah, it was very different.
I vote to build this ship. To get a constant acceleration of 10 meters per second squared is easy to do using uranium split some distance from an aluminum or steel ship. The part of the ship getting most of the photons from the millions of uranium atoms being split would have to be cooled and thick enough to take the number of photons needed to move the ship 10 meters per second squared for 1 year. This ship can be built now. Think of what could be learned in 1 year. Was Einstein accurate in saying that no matter can move more fast than a photon? If yes, then general relativity will be thought of as more accurate than now. If no, then humans should recognize that matter can move more fast than a photon, and that Einstein made another error besides thinking a God exists. This experiment is now possible and should be done. Think of the images seen on and sent from a ship moving more fast than a photon. In the ship, no photons would be seen from behind. No photons moving in the same direction would have more velocity than the ship. Photons would be colliding with the ship from the front and sides. There would be more photons from the front compared to a more slow velocity. Stars in front would look more bright. Also, think of the images of planets of other stars, only a step from here in the pond of this part of the Milky Way galaxy. Project Orion is stopped only by the fear of using nuclear fission to save life and the popularity of using nuclear fission to destroy life. Here are the times to the Centauri stars for more fast accelerations. A equals 20 meters per second squared. Humans would not live in comfort at 20 meters per second square and more. Cameras and other machines can. T equals 1.43 years. And an acceleration of 30 meters per second, T equals 1.16 years. For an acceleration of 40 meters per second, the time would be 1.00 years, 368 days to Centauri. An acceleration of 50 meters per second squared would be 329 days to the Centauri stars. A constant acceleration for 1 Earth year may use 6.022 exponential 23 Avogadro number atoms of uranium, 92 grams.
I'm standing here in front of the Stanford University macro microscope or radio telescope that measures photons in the radio. To read this part, other interesting ideas in science. Molecules that copy. What makes DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, the protein found in every living cell of every living object on Earth, copy? What part of the DNA molecule is needed for copying? Are there other molecules that copy the self? Other molecules that copy could result in other kinds of life. In truth, life is part of the universe and can be thought of as matter, or perhaps the idea that no object is living, or every object is living. For years, humans have thought that life is somehow different from the rest of the universe. At this time, there is still organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry. There are differences between atoms and molecules and, for example, a virus, one of the most simple forms of life. Like lead, silicon, and carbon, a virus cannot move by the self. A bacterium can move the self. Humans think that atoms have no choice in direction or movement. Humans are different because humans can decide, from a limited number, what part to move and where to move. Humans also are moved with no choice in the same way hydrogen is moved, because humans cannot control every part of the universe. Humans may make changes to star systems. Gravity does not stop humans from moving the moon of Earth to orbit the star the Earth orbits. Humans may use the hydrogen of Jupiter and move all the moons of Jupiter to orbit more close to the Earth star, or the star Earth rotates. Because of fission, humans can now send ships and objects from Earth to other stars. When each nucleotide, the 4 parts amino acids called adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, used in different combinations in every DNA molecule of each species has been recorded, humans will probably put together the most accurate map of evolution for all species, all the species of this planet. Also seeing what each DNA code is for. For example, what code grows a finger will be of value. I want to list all the groups of observed matter and antimatter, from most small to most large, like a periodic table. All quarks, photons, electrons, protons, atoms, molecules, viruses, bacteria. This includes isomers, molecules with more than one 3D structure, also including isotopes,